Okay, folks, let's get started. Mr. Waddy, welcome. Played a little bit of that Expeditions Conquistador or whatever. Very little. Enough that it's, it's worth $5 or whatever it was. So thanks for that. It definitely looks pretty cool. Back to the Huns, just got back from Orlando. Basically 2 days. We left around 11 or so, and just got back a few minutes ago. Not a few minutes ago, but maybe an hour ago. And yeah, so one thing I was thinking about doing here is I'm looking for there's some particular Mongol figures that I'm looking for, and I don't remember what the hell I put them in. And these are actually figures here that I set aside for the Shia army, which is, I believe, book 366, back in 2.2. And I have these guys allocated, and I'm thinking maybe some of these Mongol guys are in here. So let me take a look at what they are. And as you can see, this is how I used to label things. And I had already picked all the troops out. Now the problem this army has is it changed significantly for 3.0. And so I just had these guys in here, and I'm thinking the foot is in here. I could be wrong. That's where these guys are, but this is some of the figures and these guys I think are Falcon figures. And these are actually really cool figures. And I'll have to take a look at, but this is the guys I was looking for. I knew I had a pack of some of these guys. And we'll take a look at those close up. What else is in here? We've got some of these guys we're going to use at Cav. These Tibetans. This is actually Essex. They're minifigs Tibetan figures. They're minifigs Tibetan figures on Naismith horses, which these horses are actually really nice. They're very step pony looking. And then these guys, I believe, they're in the Tang list, but I believe there's something else. But if I had to go and build this army now, I'd have to really configure it differently than how it used to be. But anyhow, we've got two, and basically what I'm looking at is guys to use for some of the guys around the White Hun Elephant. Look, there's more of these bowmen. There's more of these guys. These are definitely museum Mongol type light horse dudes. I went through all of my Asian stuff and I didn't notice that there was any more. Yeah, I got even more of these guys shooting bows. These are the Nepalese guys, and these are all minifigs. They've got almost like a something like a do-rag that goes over their little man buns. And here's the guy we're using as the commander. This guy's pretty freaking cool. This is a Naismith horse also, with a minifigs figure. As you can see, I started working on the army. It was, I don't know, it might have been like for a step event that I was going to do, and I didn't have a painting show where I was held responsible for my actions. I want to see what the heck's in this box, or here's even more of these. These are, let me see if I can put my glasses on so I can see what I'm showing you guys. These are really cool freaking figures. It might be a little too Mongol looking. I believe these are Falcon figures. I knew they were hiding somewhere. Why are you hiding? Yep. These are the guys that these guys were the guys I was thinking I knew I had somewhere. But I think they might be a little too Mongol looking as well. Maybe not. These guys are badass looking, and I don't think that they're very Hun-like. I think these are more likely to be Huns. The only thing, I have not seen Hun figures that have a full jacket on. So in other words, look at his jacket. It goes almost past his knees, and it's fur-lined. But I'm thinking those guys actually might work. Here we've got more of those guys. All these are just mounted guys that we got a guy with a guy tooting his horn. Yeah. Okay, so let's put the mounted guys away and see what we got in the foot department. They really botched that army up. They really, well, not botched it up. They really had a change of heart with it. Which I never can understand because it's the same guy doing the army list. All right, and let's put these cool guys away. And I should have 4 of these guys to potentially be foot around the elephant. I don't need this guy, and I'm going to keep 3, 4 of those guys. All right, these are the cool ones. I don't know why I only have 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shit, there could be the 2 stands of fast bow for this army. All right, good. So we went on a scavenger hunt, and we'll add these guys to the White Hun contingents. So right now we only have, of all the bow for all the Hun lists, the only people that make them, the only people that make Hun bow in 15 mil that I'm aware of, and I mean bow, I mean dismounted, you know, on foot, legitimate ones, supposedly, are Gladiator. And unfortunately, they're all the same damn figure. I mean, literally, every single guy is exactly the same. And they look like this. Every single guy is exactly the same pose. You know, it's a guy with pants on. He's got a long shirt. He's got some kind of a fur cloak, whether it's wolf, bear, or something in between. Sheep. Something furry. And I really don't want all of them to be this pose. So if I can mix these guys in, might not be too bad. Now we've got 2 different poses. So that's my thoughts anyways on it. And these guys could very easily be beside the elephant. I'm going to pop these. Well, these guys fit a hell of a lot better on the stand than these cool Essex guys. Some Essex guys are cooler than others. These happen to be cool ones. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, they don't fit on the stand here very well. This one's okay, but his pole arm is really extended into the other side. And then this guy's, to put him in the right place, he's got the pole arm right next to him. And of course, you know, we've got the turret on the heffalump. It's going to be a tight fit. I think having a couple of these guys would probably be better. Even if they're the same pose. So, because I don't mind having the Mongol foot, I can use them for the foot in my Yuan Chinese, which that'll be when I do the Mongol Yuan Chinese morph. Right here, I want to knock out all the Hun armies all at once. So, or just about all of them. So, this actually has this spot here on the bottom that has a hole in it, but there's no hole on the elephant. And the whole purpose for that is this has a little rocket launcher that it came with. I actually found it was those guys in the Keep. The Keep have some of these museum figures that somebody must have told me they were on sale. Might have even been Ben told me that they had them. And the Keep did, I mean, nobody else does this. It's not, they're not even a minifigs distributor. And they have pictures of what's in the pack. And the pack actually shows a guy on the top, kind of like a crewman, and which he's really out of scale. He's much, much bigger. And that wasn't included in when I got this thing, but I won't be using this rocket artillery. There's no rockets during the 5th and 6th century. 6th century? Yeah, I guess it'd be the 6th century, the 500s. So, yeah, that's what we're going to have on here. So, anywho, that's, I think all of these Hun guys, if they've got this little border around their hat, it's almost like it's made out of fur, like it is down here. So before I actually mess with these guys, I may actually put some green stuff and try to mold it like there's fur around their hat to match the other guys. Or I may not do that. Just depends how I feel like it. But these are old Falcon figures, and, you know, Falcon figures aren't bad, but, you know, they're not able to be gotten anymore. So the guy who I understand has the rights or the molds is here in the U.S., and he's been basically incommunicado for 3 or 4 years. So, unfortunately, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and you can't. I don't know. I think he had some health issues, or somebody in his family. You know, family comes first, but you know. Is the elephant armored? This one is, but he will not be metallically armored. It's going to look like leather scales. So he's going to be very brown looking, which will go with the rest of the army. That's my initial thinking. He's definitely not going to be a metallic elephant. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. Mr. Wayne, Mike B, welcome. Yeah, this is actually a really freaking nice elephant. Like shape-wise and everything. He's not... Like the Zyston elephants, I think, suck. Zyston stuff is great, don't get me wrong. But their elephants, they look like freaking Snuffleupagus off Sesame Street. They get the eyes like at the front of their head instead of on the sides. You know, elephants have the eyes on the side of their head like a whale. Not, you know, in the front of their head like a minion. And the Zyston ones are just weird. Really, really weird. Yeah, this is actually a really nice elephant. Yeah. Why don't you stop messing with him, or I'll do him next. I keep myself on a short leash. Man, it is so freaking warm in here. We turned the air, we weren't in the house, and we turned it up to 77, and it is just not cooling down. Well, it says it's like 75 already, but I spent all weekend outdoors basically sweating, and yeah, I had a good time. I mean, there was a lot of people down there, but the wife's out of town, so daughter wanted to go to Universal, and we got season tickets for it. And she's not going to be able to next weekend. She's got too much homework, so we went ahead and did that. Rode some coasters and such. All right, I got to remember where the hell I was at. I think we were working on this mongoloid-looking dude. Yep. That's exactly where we were. We have to paint his hat. All right, so I want to do like a color like, what are these other Mongol type hats? Okay, that one's almost got like a greenish type color. Let's see what we got here. Maybe this medium gray. Yeah, 2 half finished. Well, there's so many different things in this army. If I get tired of painting these light horse, I can just say, F it. I'm going to go paint some bowmen or something like that. 2 half finished chaps. Yep. Uh-oh. They blew away. Falcon Figures Kai Weaver for Hampton, Virginia. Lost track of Kai many years ago. He's disappeared. He actually came to one of our shows in Orlando, I want to say like 2013, 2014 as a vendor. And I picked up 4 or 5 packs from him. He had just released some Middle Eastern troops. Some Middle Eastern mounted guys that actually look really good, and I used some of them in my Courage army. And I'm glad I did, because they can't be gotten anymore. And they're kind of a mixed bag. I guess some of them are most Falcons are pretty old style. I don't mind them. They seem to be about the same vintage get out of here. They seem to be about the same vintage as, say, something like Chariot. And the reason I say that is I actually had some Chariot figures and some Falcon figures, both from for Lydians. And I sold them off or traded them off. That's how I ended up getting the Vlad's Army figures. And I don't care for Chariot. I don't care for Chariot at all. They have weird proportions. I understand they're pretty old or whatever. I could probably make them work, but I'm not a fan of their figures. Their Lydian spearmen actually were really well molded, and they all have the spear like basically thrusting over there by the head, and the spear goes like, instead of going straight, it like goes around the head and goes out. So there's almost like a bend in the spear. I don't know why they decided to do it that way, but there's no way to unbend that. Which, if you look at it at the wrong angle, it's noticeable. Other than that, it's a fine figure. Other than that, but now I noticed that Zyston actually makes Lydian hoplites, but they don't make any of the other troops with them. So maybe they'll be like the Romans. Remember, they came out with the Romans, the Roman foot for the early Republic a while ago, and it took them, it seems like 4 or 5 years for them to come out with the cavalry for them. Or maybe it's just the Lydians that are in the Persian army or something like that. But those troops actually look really good. But yeah, I'm not alone in trying to reach Kai. Many people have tried to reach him, and he's basically incomunicado. But he did come to Florida, which is one hell of a haul for our quaint little show. be glad to be out of the sun and the heat for a few hours. Why are you blowing up off the side of my screen? There we go. Not the side of the screen, my side of my view. Yeah, the Falcon guys, they have some unique range of figures. And most of them have a lot of character, honestly. But that's again one of those figure lines that there's no pictures of them online. So you kind of just have to order them, and well, back when you could order them. It's just disappointing that we've lost so many figure manufacturers that basically have things that aren't available anymore in 15 millimeter scale. Roundway, Falcon, Alain Toulaire, Outpost War Game Services. I'm not sure if Legio Heroica is rolling again. Just kind of a shame. You had 25 millimeter Russian battalions for CLS from Falcon? You've been painting Jewish revolt. Stop to watch you. Oh, don't let me stop you. That's a tough army to play. That's a tough army to play. I think hiding in Masada won't even help them. Yeah, you don't have to stop. Paint along. In ACW, we lost Wayne McCarran, Musket Miniatures. You saw us play it. Yeah, those were some crazy battles, weren't they? Two of those armies actually have had my eyes on them before. And really the only reason that I haven't pulled the trigger on them, and they would be good look, there's some good looking figures you can make with them. Because you can get some Old Glory, some Essex. Somebody else in there also makes figures for the Hasmoneans and stuff like that. Hasmonean later Day in particular. The problem is they're going to look very Hellenic. They're going to look very Hellenic looking. If you want to paint them realistic, they're going to look like a Hellenic army. Except for, you know, maybe the Auxilia and the skirmishers. But all the cavalry, you know, they've got Thracian cavalry. They've got, you know, it's not what you expect. So the challenge to them would be to make them look like they're, you know, Hebrew in some way or another, without using the Star of David, because the Star of David I think wasn't a thing yet. But Kai's wife developed health problems, could explain his disappearance. One lottery win, and I'm putting all those lost mini lines back in production. I'll even send people out to find the molds like Indiana Jones. Yeah, get the Roundway ones back. You're painting some Sassanid light horse. Oh, excellent. You're doing armies from 69 AD, the year of the four emperors. There you go. You notice that museum's ACW line has gone missing in action now. Is Musket Miniatures no more? I remember they had a fairly decent site. They had like, I got some terrain. I have one thing from Musket Miniatures, and it's a 15 millimeter terrain piece. It's a freaking house, okay? And 15 millimeter that I was going to use it for 20s, and it's like something from like this Mexican-American War. It's a little house with a little porch on it. And it's molded in a tan color. and I was going to use it for something in Italy because it almost looks the same. And I have it in there in my 20mm box somewhere. That's hard to reach. But I do have that from Musket Miniatures. But aren't they one of those that you get a lot of figures in a pack and they're all the same pose? Like I was looking at some figures from, who is it? Rank and File. And they didn't look very good. I did find pictures of them. They didn't look very good and they're all in the same pose. I'm like, that's going to be just weird. That's going to be weird if I want to use them for some kind of skirmish game. The early Imperial Romans are from 69 AD campaigns. Well, there's enough different shield patterns you could do, you know, for all those armies. Like if you were like a lunatic and wanted to build like 4 early Imperial armies, right? Because it was divided in 4 or something like that. You know, you could make one unit that had all their shields with a black background, one with red, one blue, and then a yellow one, or you know, or anything in between. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty neat. I came across a post today. I don't know if you posted it today, but I saw it today. I've been kind of busy, you know, in the real world. And this guy was looking for a game system, for an Ancients game system that did not have opposed rolling. He did not like the fact that both people rolled the die and you compared them. And it's funny that the only game I've ever played is DBA that does that. And I think I like it. I think it keeps both people engaged. But I guess he was looking for something that they need to kind of attack and see if they put hits on the other unit without the other guys defending it. Now, I guess not being able to attack back on the same die roll. I don't know. I think that's one of the strengths of DBA is that both people are engaged. It's not like, you go ahead and roll your dice and tell me what happened. You can't do that. You know, you can't do that. Both people are involved in every die roll, and I think that's one of the things I enjoy about it. You know, and also enjoy that I can roll like crap as long as you do too, and then we're okay. Then we still have a game with it. You know. The guy bought them and disappeared. I would imagine that's a nightmare to deal with. Molds and stuff. I was actually looking forward to Historicon to getting some old figures that aren't available anymore, but they weren't available. You know what? I never finished. I now found part of his shirt that was showing somewhere else, so. I thought Musket just did like Musket type stuff, I would imagine. I don't know, were their figures really good? That building that I have by them is awesome. It's a great, that's why I got it. And I know I didn't buy it sight unseen. I must have been somewhere and they had it. I remember going to their site. I can almost picture what it looked like. They had some 20 millimeter World War II, if I remember correctly. Oh, don't need that. Found a site for musket, and as January they had things for sale. New guy's name is Chris Kaunis, or is he the guy that has gone walkabout? Chris Kaunis. New site for musket, huh? I remember the old site had like, there was like a Russian church or whatever on one of their pages. And like a bunch of figures, like the Sun-made buildings have lots of them, but the Union needs more. Yeah, I've got that little, I think it's a Mexican-American War. I think, pretty sure that's what it is. Cute little building. It's like adobe looking. It's got the little tejita roof on it. Happy little place. Decline of figure manufacturers is indicative of the ongoing graying of the historical miniaturists. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. People just take the easy way out of stuff. Maybe pictures that people put of awesome figures online. I'm not talking about my stuff. I'm just talking about in general. Like in White Dwarf, just scares folks. They're like, well, I can never do that. So they just don't even try. Like, I've gone in the opposite direction. I used to do video gaming. I hardly do any of it anymore. I don't remember the last time I fired up the console. I don't want to interact with people I'm never going to meet that are rude. Okay, now we will get that buff we were grabbing. Let's find out where it is. We don't need that anymore. That's empty. Yeah, I don't know what we can do about the graying of the hobby. If I was immortal, maybe I'd worry about it a little bit more, but I've tried advertising games at our game shops here. They're not interested. People that play like Magic the Gathering and shit like that, there's no cure for them. You're screaming at the wall. You know, they don't even play 40K. You know, just buying cards. It's just a different mentality. You know, I got a guy that I know several people that are really into that. If I want to play that kind of a game, there's free ones that are available online. Mr. Nordic, welcome. There's been a big push of younger people into history thanks to video games like Crusader Kings and Total War. It's just they never seem to learn about wargaming. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even care if people paint. You know, just be willing, you know, whatever. Just show up. There's some I speak to online that love history, have nerdy hobbies like magic, but they never seem to make the leap. Played Magic the Gathering, but I'm on my way out of the game. I've seen people play the game. I don't want to play with those folks. I don't care with nerdy people, you know. But I don't like the idea of buying something random. You don't know what you're going to get. I think that's maybe that feeds into some gambling mentality that I don't have. I am totally not a gambler. Now, the HeroClix game, we have several of those, but we didn't. I don't think we bought any packs. We bought them like off of eBay or something. Like you knew who we were getting. And we don't care they're a limited edition. For a time, I'm like, man, I need to paint some of those because some of those are actually pretty decent looking. But I'd want to strip them. And that's just like, if I had unlimited time, I would create some alternative rules for it because it's actually a decent fun game. It's just a bit too predictable. Who's going to go next? You try. Gently introduce them. Which 100 Years War English army do I have for DBA? I have none of them. I do not have an English 100 Years War army because Mitch and Luke each have one. So they can do all of them. Start for a local magic army can be overwhelming. Well, the dumb among the Magic the Gathering players will buy packs, but still the smartest ones buy single cards that they need. It just seems like a game. It just seems like a game where the only way I would play a game like that is if it was fun, first of all. First of all, the game involves shuffling, so I'm out. I don't shuffle well. I've even watched videos how to shuffle. I can't do it, I can't shuffle. But the thing would be is if, you buy into a tournament and everybody buys 5 packs and then you recruit them or whatever. Or you randomly get them and you have to play with whatever cards you have. But the idea that, the game within the game of trying to get the right, it just doesn't appeal to me, I also don't love the art that's on them. I think they have multiple artists and a couple of them are pretty cool and some of them are like, I don't really like that style. So it's not like I'd get them for that. But it's been around a while. I remember when it came up, I was working at a hobby store, and those kids were annoying as shit that would buy the freaking Magic the Gathering cards. If you play Magic the Gathering, that's all you do. How the hell am I gonna encounter you in Joann's Fabrics? You don't need anything from that store. You don't have to be creative. How are you going to meet those little old ladies? The artwork that they had more than 15 years ago was good, but modern artists suck. Well, I haven't seen them in a long time, but I had a really low opinion of people that did digital art until I found some digital artists that I really like. There's some cool stuff out there, but nothing like traditional art forms. I've done some digital stuff, but it's mainly just glorified coloring. And I'm too stupid to use any of the crutches that you use to kind of make it better. I just kind of have to. It's just basically a medium that I can erase what I've done. Like if I screw up, I'm like, oh, let me erase it, Mr. Hoffman, how are the Huns going? They're coming along. I've lost track. I've got 2 based, 1, 2, Okay, he's half-assed done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more done. One guy half done and this guy half done. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the 9th one. But I'll have to go back and finish the 8th one. I just got carried away. It's not... I got over another month to get this done. If I got the Byzantines knocked out, I'll be able to get these guys done. This last week, I was not able to be very productive. Just a lot of real life, not a lot of real life stuff, but several real life things came along the way. And I think I only painted one night during the week, but we should have more painting this week coming up. The wife's gone until Friday, so that's one less distraction. Not that I can't paint while she's here, but I don't have to take her into consideration when she's not here. You don't pay any attention to me. Well, you're not here. Be right back. You probably left something in the oven. So I started looking at how to make a Discord channel to tie in with this. You guys interested in that? Have you been on other channels that have a Discord as well? Is it too chaotic? Is there just too many people talking all over each other? That's what I'd be worried about. I wouldn't be worried about people misbehaving because you can always boot them. You guys all know how to behave. You guys are also not 13. But I'm concerned about people talking over each other or maybe not being able to understand people really well. I unfortunately can't understand things very well. I don't want to make it sound like there's something wrong with me in that department, but it's just I have difficulty understanding folks, and I'd be concerned with people talking over each other. And yeah, how does it work? I mean, when you're talking, you have to press like a space button, and then when you let go of it, it's basically your mic's off, or is everybody's mic on all the time? I don't know anything about it. I joined one Discord channel a long time ago, and it just seemed like it was just chaos. Just freaking chaos. And chaos is not my friend. I'm not a fan of chaos. All right, let's lighten this up a little bit. But honestly, I don't know very much about it. Oh yeah, this color's looking good. Discord is cool, kind of annoying with their mic settings. A DBA Discord sounds cool since Facebook is dying out, and Fanaticus is like 10 people. Nah, it wouldn't be, you just dial in and we're all there, you know? Facebook is dying out. So tell me about Facebook dying out. I'm not disagreeing with you. I use it a lot. It's great for a hobby. It's great for a hobby because it allows you to post pictures easily and make commentary on them and like. So I think for our hobby, like if you just said you can only use Facebook for hobbies, I'd be like, I'm good because that's what I use it for mainly. You know, I don't really, you know. Going to Mitch's tomorrow. I am not. No, the daughter's here. The wife's gone all week, so I don't want to leave the daughter here till 10:30 at night. There's no reason to, you know. It's not like going over there is that pressing. That's the reason I'm not going. So I will probably be painting tomorrow. I don't know when I'll start painting, but I'll probably paint. My goal is to paint every day this week coming up, even if it's only for a little bit. Even if I don't get a lot done and we just chit chat around about whatever it is that we want to talk about. That's the only reason I'm not going. Okay, so this fellow needs pants. This fellow needs pants. This other guy has really light colored pants and a brown shirt, so let's do some kind of brown pants. He remembered to wear the brown pants. Discord can be used like Google Hangout. If you have a chat room, and you could always limit the chat room members. I'm not limiting people, you know that. Okay, I may look into it this week. Now, how does, let's say we put Discord on this channel, right? Where does the sound come out for other people to hear? Does it come out through my computer? And is that going to have a problem with a microphone? I guess I just need to try it, and maybe we just need to do a show one time, a preliminary show. I did set up a server, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing yet. So, I literally spent... It looks like it would be easy to set up, but who knows? Maybe one day this week we'll just... we'll try doing it. Like a day where I figure out I'm probably not going to get any painting done. Let's see who shows up and we can chit-chat or whatever. Because I know it would be a lot easier for everybody to get more stuff done, especially you guys, if you don't have to type things out, No, that's not the color we want. You want something, how about this ugly ass color? Oh no, you feel a top 10 list. Yep. I love that stuff. Shit, we should do it with a World War II show. That's what we should do. A World War II show. I gotta read up on my stuff, man. I'm gonna be like an ignoramus. Oh, man. I think I'm gonna start delving into something else. And I don't mean I'm gonna stop doing this, just along with it. So that's why I want to try that Blood and Steel and see if that's it. Or I'm going to go back to World War II. And mainly for painting. If I never play World War II shit again, that's fine. But I've got tons of individual figures that I really, really like. That it'd be nice to kind of paint them. I'd like to actually do one of them and do that. And I keep forgetting to do it, but I keep saying I need to base one of these guys in a modern way. And just see how much better they look than other than this woodland scenics grass dip bullshit that we used to do in the 90s. I've got plenty. I've got, 50 figures or something like that. Maybe even more than 50 figures. So. Top 10 greatest admirals in world history. Oh, I know a lot about naval stuff, but only World War I and World War II. I don't know shit about the other periods. I really don't. And I have no interest in knowing about the other periods. So, think you will need some headphones if you don't want the audio coming out of the laptop and interfering with my mic. Discord, the name sounds chaotic. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know shit about naval stuff that's not World War I and World War II. Now, with that said, I know a lot about World War I and World War II naval stuff. Mainly anything that does not involve the Pacific. Because that's what we used to game. I think it's super, super freaking cool. Um, but Napoleonic admirals, name them. Nelson. That's it. I don't know anybody else, and it just doesn't interest me, because naval warfare for me is all about the ships. If you've watched that book review that I did, now you guys might even know I've got a sub thing on my channel that's book reviews, and one of them is a book that I grew up having on our table, and when I lived with my folks. Really, how the hell did I get brown shit all over my arm? I'll take Things You Hear at the Barnyard for 1,000, please. My dad picked it up like 1982, and that's how my love for ships kind of happened. So it's all about the ships. So if I don't care about the ships of the period, and sailing ships honestly look all the same to me. Oh, the British painted the little things where the portholes were yellow, and then the French did white, and I'm like, okay, they look the same. I mean, to the untrained eye, it's the same. Okay, it's the same as it's the same as when people say, oh, well, there's different breeds of horses. Okay, I understand there's a Percheron and the steppe horses, okay, and a Shetland pony. But the other stuff in between, I can't tell the difference between an Andalusian and a thoroughbred, or they all look the same to me. So, number 10, John Paul Jones. I thought we were going to talk about bass players. What? There's a Korean admiral that beat the Japanese back in the day. The South Korean, the Admiral Yi, I think is what his name is. South Korean embassy will send you a booklet on him if you ask them to. Yi Sun Shin. Yi Sun Sin, yeah. That's the chap. GMT just released a Great Battles Julius Caesar game. It contains 20 battles and over 2,000 counters. I'm going to order it. It runs the same rules your Alexander game does. It's only Julius Caesar? I don't know. I'm not a huge Julius Caesar fan. First of all, who did Julius Caesar fight? Other Romans and Gauls. I mean, it's just too much. I don't know. I'm not saying he sucked. It just doesn't interest me. Yeah, I don't know stuff about them. Who are some of your favorite admirals? How about that? Or naval commanders that you know of, okay? Because they may not actually be an admiral. Well, honestly, if we probably know about them, they probably were admirals. I always liked Somerville. He was one of the commanders of Force H out of Gibraltar, because apparently he liked to cuss. And he was in Renown, and I'm a fan of Renown. And it's not the best ship, but the fact that it's not the best ship and has armor limitations in some places, when you kick somebody's ass in it, it feels good. So, I like old Somerville. I respect the guy that can cuss. And he was pretty successful. I'm pretty sure he survived the war, went to the Pacific. You have Caesar on order, awaiting shipping. Get the simple Great Battles of History rules. Makes the game a smidge easier to play. So there's like a base, so same game, but two different rules. That's cool. I don't know what's up with the Philippines. I don't live there. I have such a bad sinus headache above my eye, so not so good. Site that sells a game, 500 price tomorrow. I'm going to pre-order it for $30 less than what it's selling now. Wow. The GMT games are beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. And one game that I absolutely love, but I actually absolutely suck at. I can't be good at everything. Remember, I'm a painter. And I roll dice I roll dice pretty well. I think that I roll better than not. I'm like the freaking King Tigers from Battle of the Bulge. This is a beautiful game. And I have no problem with counter games. I've said that before. As long as they're historical, they make me excited about reading about history, and they're good to look at. This is, as I like to call it, the most difficult word in the entire, well, I don't know if this is English language, to spell. Maneuver, and I believe this is the French spelling, maneuver. So, this is a nice, it's a, I guess a DBA-esque type of Napoleonic game. The boards are very basic looking. It is a superb game. It is a superb game. Mitch has it as well. I had somebody that came over and had it, and it's basically, it has nice counters. Let's see. And basically it has units on them with little flags. And, oh, here's my Austrians. Woohoo! It's a Napoleonic type of game, Napoleonic inspired game, and it's a lot of fun, and it plays pretty quick. I'm not very good at it because it involves some long range planning, which I refuse to do. I'm allergic to do something like that. I'm a tactics guy. So, but it is a wonderful game. I haven't played it in a while. And they actually have an expansion for that adds, let's see, so who's in this game? We have French, of course, Russians, British, Americans, Spanish, Turks, Austrians. I think that's it. So it's basically a two-player game. Here's some of the counters. They're beautiful counters, and they're big. They're about that size. So it's a great game. Great game. They're expensive, but okay. I'm not going to buy that many. It looks good. Now, I did pick this up at a flea market for $10. Yep, it even has the tag, $10. And I got this, honestly, for scenarios. And this is Arquebus, Men of Iron. And talk about a game that has a ton of different maps in it. There's a ton of maps of tons of different sizes. So, I don't know. I'd say this, I couldn't pass this up because it was only $10, but I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. It says Solitaire Suitability 7, which is high. I highly doubt that. But anyhow. That's my period, Italian Wars. But it doesn't have Spanish fighting Turks in North Africa or anything like that. That would be cool if it included that as well. All right, what did I miss other than a ton of stuff? I'm not opposed to board games at all. I just don't have it in me to sit there and... Admirals, Themistocles was a great admiral. It's got to be the guy at Salamis. Britons and Germans, dare I say, Spanish and Pontics and Numidians and Egyptians, Ptolemaic. I would add... crap, I gotta remember how to pronounce that. Joe. Joe-U. Z-H-O-U is Joe. Since you like the Three Kingdoms period so much. Hoffman, who do you dislike from the Three Kingdoms? Who was like the guy you're like, oh, that guy again? Levasseur de la Touche, Treville. Somebody of the touch. Somebody that touches children. I don't know. Never heard of him. I think Caesar's game is Gauls, Germans, British, Numidians, Pontics, as well as the Romans. Francis Drake. Not a fan of my people. My people are not a fan of his. Andrea Doria. Counter to the series again. Nice. Think you could take armies of Salamarius, which are in the game, and fight the Celtic tribes, which are also in there. Maneuver is a great game. Don't play many board games. Understand Junior Time is coming on reporting with a reporting of musket and pike. Mr. Kevin, welcome. If I wanted to play pike stuff, I'd fire up Pike and Shot. On the computer. And it looks pretty good. And it's real easy to pick up. And I think it plays pretty well. I think it represents the period pretty well. I haven't done a huge amount of history, but, you know, bet a whole lot of history on it. But you think you like everybody from the Three Kingdoms period, but to answer your question, Lubu, of course. Well, he's, you know, sucked farts in real life, but everybody loves him because of the games and novels. Yeah. Yeah, and those two peacock feathers, right? Red hair. Who is it that I dislike? Of the Three Kingdoms, I like the red one the least. I like Wu the least. I find their guys are just not. And remember, I've never read the novels. I've never watched any of the miniseries. I probably should. The funny thing about it is after you played enough of the video games, it's not confusing who everybody is. Like, you could hear Zhao Dun, and you're like, oh, that's the guy there with the eye patch. You know, you're like, how do you freaking remember that? I think that's the guy with the eye patch. Anyways, it's crazy that, you know, just from being constantly exposed to these guys where you're like, oh, first of all, it's like all their names look the same. And then, nah, they don't. You know, you get used to seeing them. You know? There's a war game magazine that puts out little games with their magazines. Really like to collect them. Hayachiro, Battle of Yalu, and Plan Tsushima Straits, 1905. Themistocles was a Salamis in Thermopylae. Oh, so he was he went both ways. He went on land and he's at Thermopylae? You mean Marathon? Because Thermopylae, like, nobody survived. That was the 200 Spartans, right? Unless he's that bastard that turncoated and ran away and told him where the goat path was. The turncoat. That Rome Total War game, I just cannot get naval combat. I just don't want to learn it bad enough. I understand what I'm supposed to do, I just can't do it. I got the land shit down though. I've pulled out some miracles for sure. That's one of those. Do you want to command the army personally, or do you want to let the computer do it? I said, well, let's see. I'm outnumbered 2-1. Let me take command. Because the computer will not win if you automatically do it and you're outnumbered 2-1. And you can go kill the freaking general, basically. You go kill the enemy general and demoralize the living shit out of everybody. It's still difficult, so. He was the head of the Navy. He was at Marathon, yeah. 300 Spartans, 1,000 Thespians. Oh, actors. He was commanding the Athenian Navy. Themistocles commanded the Athenian Navy and held the water pass to prevent the Persians from sailing behind Leonidas. Okay. So he was there. He was just offshore. He's like, man, those guys sure are getting shot full of arrows. Oh, that's nice. Andrea Doria. Wasn't he the guy in... was he the main guy at Lepanto? That's one of those names. That's one of those Latin names that does not translate well into English. Because in English, Andrea is a girl's name. Well, okay. I'm talking like 20 years ago. Now anything goes. So forget about now. I'm just saying that Andrea is a girl's name. And same thing happens with a Spanish name that sometimes gets used that's Angel. So Angel is normally a male name. But if you write it and your name is that, they're wondering, why did they name a dude an Angel? So Leonidas to withdraw. Once the immortals got around behind them, Themistocles withdrew, and the rest of the Greek army was ordered back. Well, I don't remember. I've listened to the first audiobook I ever listened to, believe it or not, was that's before I even tried Audible. Was around 2009, 2010, something like that. For the first audiobook I ever listened to that wasn't on CD. Okay. Streamable one was the Peloponnesian War. And honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember that part. I remember enough that I freaking hate Alcibiades forever. Screw that guy. And he's weird as shit in what's the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. He's a fruitcake and a half in that game. So I'm like, I'm not taking any of his missions. Screw him. And he has a unique name, so you know it's easy to remember him. Technically, you didn't see the arrow store and wiped out the Spartans. There are some Greek survivors who were held there against their surrendered. Do research, but don't want to right now with a bad headache. Nah, I'll look into it if I wanted to bad enough. Hey, it was just part of my comic. Oh, sorry about that. We're over here on our ships. Alright, we're going to have to do some dark boots on this guy for some contrast. I know just the color. I just have to find it. So unfortunately, I don't have these on their side. So sometimes you got to move 4 things out of the way to get to one. Get the audio of Tides of War by Stephen Pressfield. Cool. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have Audible. I've just kind of lost interest in. you know what I hate the most about Audible is that if you cancel it and haven't picked your credits, you lose them. And I don't want to pick my credits and then change my mind about what I want to do. I don't want to decide what I'm doing until I decide it. Jeez, what a freaking mess. Where's clean my desk too well. It's no longer here. That's really the only thing I say about Audible. I think it's an extremely great value. 15 bucks for something that could be tens of hours long. That's pretty good value. And it could inspire you to read more about it. Like, oh, okay, well now I kind of have the basic gist of what this is about. Let me dig deeper. Maybe dig deeper into Thebans 1. Is the Peloponnesian War considered? Is the Theban part considered Peloponnesian War? I thought the Peloponnesian War ended. I could be wrong. I always consider the Peloponnesian War ending after the Spartans win. But yeah, the Thebans end up being top dog until Alexander comes knocking on their door. Or Alexander's dad, technically. Philip, I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back. Well, that took a while. Had to go order food, so when that comes in, we will sign off for that. My favorite audiobook was A Landscape Turned Red by Stephen Sears, Battle of Antietam. You didn't bring any miniatures to paint and regret it. The best audiobook I've ever listened to, and I'm going to give a plug for it again. It is freaking awesome. Well, the story is good. The story is probably one you've already heard before, but the delivery is superb. And it is Ghosts of Cannae, and it's awesome. It's really, really good. It's of the 40 or so books that I've done, that I've listened to. It's definitely the top one, easily the top one. It's a good one, and it's not just about the battle. The battle's kind of in the middle of the book. So I believe it goes into the First Punic War. And does all the second and afterwards. So it's and there's some dogs I've gotten too. There's some dog books that have just not been very good. But that is definitely my favorite one. It has the story, it has the delivery. Because other people have a good delivery, but the story isn't very good. And some have a good story, but the delivery is not any good. Historical fiction, famous for Gates of Fire, about the 300. What was the name of that? What was the name of that Napoleonic game that used counters instead of miniatures? And it was like big in like the 80s and the 70s. I remember they would sell like packs of these cardboard units that, you know, they weren't square. They were like, you know, out like a line or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about, you Napoleonic fans. You read Gates of Fire. I really liked it. That sounds like the one that's by Holland. Holland's book on the Persian. Oh, that one's Persian Fire. Sorry. I haven't read that yet. Since I'm in no point of ever building a Persian army, basically because everybody around me has one or two, I don't have a huge interest in them. It's not that I dislike the Persians at all. I just, you know, I'm not going to be building one of their armies. I like the troop makeup of the later Achaemenids. Gotta try to do things that people around me that I play with frequently don't have. No point in painting an army that Mitch already has. You know, when I can choose a different one. And like I didn't think much of the episode that Dan Carlin did on the Persians either. It just didn't grab me. Or his Mongol one. But sometimes, you know, and that's somebody who I like listening to. The other person I like listening to is whatever his name is. Remember the History of Rome guy? He did a book that was the Storm Before the Storm. Just kind of boring. You know, actually, it wasn't boring. The problem is I'm like, okay, what troops do we use to do social war? That's basically what it is. It's basically the social war and how Sulla came to power and kind of did the blueprint for Caesar doing his thing. How about a North American army? Well, you know which one I'm doing. I'm doing the conquistadors. I already have the Spanish for it. Don't have to ask me twice to act haughty. There's only, how many North American armies are there? I mean, if you don't consider Mexico North America, which I could argue that it is or isn't, really Central America. You've got the Pacific ones, the Pacific natives, which you have. You've got the Eastern natives. You've got the dog people. Who else? I want to say there's one other one. Mound builders. Well, I'm not building the Western ones, which you have. That would be stupid. I'd build the only one I already have the troops for, and because it has a flag. The only one of those that has a flag. You heard me say that if I go to Mexico, which we got invited to go to Mexico over the holidays, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen because the flights are freaking stupid. The price on flights is just stupid. I will build the Tlaxcalan allies for my conquistadors. I've got plenty of conquistadors and plenty of conquistadors that the figures look awesome and I really, really like them. I did an unboxing on them the other day. I really, really like them. So that's the first guy. And there are only 4 stands. The Spanish are only 4 stands of them. The rest of them, which is really disproportionate. It really should be like 1 stand of Spanish, or maybe even like half of a stand of Spanish, because there weren't very many Spanish that came over. They couldn't have done much without allies. They couldn't have done much without allies. But, you know, the Aztecs were dicks, big time. They got what was coming to them. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened without the Allies, for sure. I mean, you know, they brought pestilence over here, and lots of people would have died from disease, but I don't think it would have brought the whole empire down. I feel like this guy needs some kind of a red-brown... You know what? I just bought a new color that I thought I had, and I didn't. It's called Hull Red, and that's what we're going to use as the color for the strappings on this horse. As soon as I find where the hell I put Hull Red in, I should have put it where the reds are, but that particular bin is totally McFull. Four stands of Spanish, 8 stands of smallpox. Yeah. Yep. Even without the Toledo steel, we would have just come over here and just sneeze on people. That would have been enough. You saw someone do an Aztec on the Facebook page. He's doing a great job. I don't remember what his name is. He's kicking ass with that. It definitely looks very good. I've seen several people do Aztec figures, and they're really cool. Really, really cool. I read a detailed book on the Conquistador one. And unfortunately, the guy, he doesn't do a bad job of narrating it. He just does a really bad job of pronouncing things. I think the Aztec names are relatively easy and straightforward to pronounce. And of course, the Spanish ones are easy to pronounce for me. And he just kills both of them. So after you do a little brr what was it he's trying? What is he trying to say? Oh, okay, that. Then he actually does a fair job of it, and it's a pretty interesting book. I could, like I say, they could make a movie of it, but they would just screw the whole thing up. Luke has the Aztecs. Yeah, Luke has the Aztecs, and has done really well with them. And they're a fun, they could have 5 stands of fast horde, and that could soak up some attention while you go mess people up with the other stands in the army. And he's done pretty well with it. Yeah, that's one of those things I'd like to see in a movie, but then I wouldn't want to see it in a movie because they definitely twist. The problem with historical movies is some people just are never going to learn about history other than through movies. So if you make them really skewed, you're creating a lot of problems. You're creating a lot of problems. And, I try to tell some of those things the best you can. Were my ancestors nice? Oh, no, they were big time assholes, but Aztecs had it coming to them. Would have never happened if they weren't, trying to sacrifice their neighbor. And I do like that game that I played it a little bit. That I'll probably play it some tonight. That Ben suggested, Expedition Conquistador or whatever. Although I didn't pick any female characters because I'm pretty sure there weren't any combat females. Although I don't have a problem with women kicking ass on the battlefield. Don't get me wrong. Especially since I find them more attractive than dudes. So. But I just don't know that any of that happened, so I didn't pick any of the female characters in my group. I kind of avoided them on purpose. Gotta go now to cook some breakfast. Good luck with the Huns. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to leave in about a half an hour or so. I suspect. Maybe this week we'll try that Discord. See if it's too much Discord. See if they named that thing properly. So yeah, I like to paint. I like to paint historical things because it gets my juices. It gets my juices flowing for, history. As much as I like to paint and being creative, if I was just doing fantasy, it just falls flat on it. I just don't. I'm just not interested in that. Like they've got some Game of Thrones games, for instance, and I've seen the whole series, and it's okay. It'd be better if they wouldn't have had some of the characters so prominent that I really didn't like. But you can't please everybody. But I don't want to play any of those Game of Thrones games, even though I know all the characters. Like, it's not. I don't feel like I got to participate in that. It just doesn't appeal to me. You lie on your back. There's a lot worse things you could be doing. There's a lot worse things you could be doing. Oh. All right, daughter went to go grab the food. You was painting along with you were little, working on 30 AWI Continentals. What manufacturer are they? Your AWI guys. And why'd you pick the guys you picked? I've played a couple AWI games that one of our local gamers meaning guys that run games at our shows, our biannual shows in Orlando. It was a DBN mod, kind of a homegrown one that he did, and it was fun. I played Ariskany, and what was the other one that we played? Something. It was fun. It was fun. Blue Moon. Okay. I don't know how I feel about Blue Moon. And I've painted some Blue Moon figures and really liked how they turned out. I've looked at figures in the pack, online, and just haven't been inspired by them. I actually have painted a fair number of them. I paid all my Lance Connects are Blue Moon, and all of my Italian Wars French Knights are Blue Moon. I have Spanish pikemen that are also Blue Moon, and I like all them. Just some of the guys, like they released something recently. What did they release? Sarmatians or something. And some of the poses were like, well, why did they put them in that pose? It was just kind of weird. It's just kind of suffered from the Essex type thing. I don't know. And like online, it looks like all the figures have cankles, have really fat ankles, which I guess is to keep them from falling over. But they paint up okay, so I don't have a problem with them. Just kind of a mixed bag. How I feel about them. I'm not sure how I feel about them. Got them because I had an Old Glory membership and they were real cheap, but the sculpts are not standing the test of time. Uh-oh. Well, what's that mean? They look dated or they're falling apart. You have the same problem. I don't feel inspired by the Blue Moon. A lot of the detail they have gets lost in miniature. Also a lot of miscast. Oh. That's not good. So I guess they're good when they're good. They're not so good when they're not so good. And they're kind of strange. Like they've got stuff listed. They've got artillery for the Italian Wars listed, and they've never come out with it. Not that I need them to, but it's just kind of weird that they let that out. The Crusade stuff. They've got some Muslim commanders that look really, really cool, but then the horses just have cankles. But I could replace the horses. I can, you know me. I mix and match other stuff. I just didn't buy them at Historicon because I knew I wasn't going to get to them anytime soon. You know. But it's nice that there are at least some figures that are available on. They run a little on the large side, right? So they'd be good for like their Germans. You know, they make German guys for that, and Dacians. I'm not opposed to them. I didn't know about the miscast. I didn't get any, but I don't doubt that you had. Who did I have a fair amount of miscasts with? Zyston. I have Zyston figures that had a fair amount of miscast. Fair amount's probably not fair, but They come, what, in packs of 8? And probably I've had 4 or 5 of the figures miscast. Like missing a whole leg. Just weird stuff like that. Yeah. Quality control, you know, it happens. It happens to everybody. I was looking at Old Glory. I mean, Old Glory. I was looking at Blue Moon for their Afghani troops for the colonial period. I just looked at them the other day, and a couple of the poses are just like, I wonder why he made them in that pose. They seem a little wooden. I don't know. That are 18 mil. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I haven't seen anything as small. I'm sure there's stuff that's small as it. I've never seen anything as small as Mitch's minifigs, and they're not strip minifigs. They're the regular minifigs, Napoleonics. They're very, very, very small, or maybe they're the right. I'd mix them in the same army with stuff like this. I just wouldn't mix them on the same stand. Blue Moon seems to have an issue with miscast on their feet. You will get like 8 or so out of 30 where one of their feet is just a large mess of metal. Maybe they're just rushed trying to put them out. I don't know. That sucks. I don't like seeing that. I can't say that that's been a real recurring problem in my experience with people. Like, oh, every time I get figures that they're wrong. I did encounter it the most with Zeiston, which is funny because when it happened, it was like Zeiston's like the freaking nicest figures. Like, why would this happen? QC. Or lack thereof. Yeah, some of the Blue Moon packs are a bit large, unfortunately. Yeah, they got 30 figure packs. Alright, we need to take some of this gummy stuff off. It's starting to behave weird. I still can't believe that the sculptor for GHQ can sculpt tanks and stuff like that. That's crazy. That's crazy that he can get all those straight lines in. If that thing really is made out of green stuff or what have you. I always thought it was like they made like a big master one and had some machine that, when I was a kid, I thought that's how it was. It would never occur to me that somebody would sculpt something that small, that precise, with that many straight edges, and it would turn out so freaking well. That's really a miracle, It's quite the miracle. Because figures is one thing, but vehicles and ships, they all have straight edges, and you gotta be straight, or, This is looking a little pink, and I don't mind that because it's going to fade to that. I didn't really want it red. Yeah, this will be fine. Have to run downstairs. I'm glad I don't have those. I haven't lived in a house with stairs in 20 years, and I do not miss it. It's psychological, like, oh man, I left it upstairs. Golly, I gotta walk all the way up there. That and the upstairs is always significantly hotter, and that's where you end up sleeping. So I hate that you have to sleep in a place that's hot. It should be like the coolest room. Our bedroom, the master bedroom, is the warmest room in this house, unfortunately. Mr. Rat, greetings. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm probably going to be on another 15 or 20 minutes till the food gets here. My daughter went on a food run, so. Okay. What's next on this fellow? We have a bow case. Let's do something with a hint of green. This arm is right in the way. Supposed to be a green color, but it's almost like Western Approach's color. Light green blue. Western Approach's Destroyer color. Okay, we're gonna have to punt on this one. It's too close to it's too bluish. Not enough green. We could just modify it. Let's do that. Grab a brand new color that I just got the other day. There you go. What size brand paintbrush? 3/0. Oh, this one? It is a 3/0. Yeah. This just happens to be. It's the point that matters more than the. I've seen ones that are better than 10/0 for detail. It just depends on the. Just depends how the point's going to behave. That's why I don't really want to buy a brush sight unseen. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I've done it. I'm still not a fan of doing it though. I think we're going to leave that color as it is, and we're just going to, let's add a little bit more green to it, and then we'll start adding white to lighten it. Just paint some kind of a design that's supposedly there. I'm glad we're back. We're tired of talking about you. Oh, that was quick. All right, well, I'm going to finish up this color, and looks like the food has arrived, so we're going to have to wrap this one up. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I should be on just about every night this week. I got to add a little bit more white to this. Just about every night. Might be a later start than normal because may involve going to the gym first, but that's the plan anyways, to get some stuff knocked out while the wife's away, so. This little kind of design on there. Nonsense. It's only fun to talk about people while they're here. Okay, folks. Well, that's it for tonight. Almost 2 hours, not bad. And we'll catch you guys on later in the week. Happy painting, happy gaming if you got some of that coming up. And we'll catch you soon. See you, folks.